What's up guys, back with another Konosuba video, and in today's video we are going to go over the original 4-star starting characters. Yeah, I just wanted to go over them because they're pretty good. Most of these characters are actually pretty solid, and I've noticed a trend where new characters for the characters come out and they're actually not as good as the original, which, I mean, hey, most people have all the originals. I don't, unfortunately, because I get unlucky and I pull the same one 5 times before I pull a new one, but it is what it is. So I decided to do a tier list. I'm including the 3 characters we don't have yet, just for when they do come out. Obviously this video was recorded when these are the only 3 characters that are going to be added. We're not counting collabs, of course. So yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. I'll try to give a brief explanation of why I placed them. I'm not going to try talking about their weapons altogether, except for one character, because their weapon is kind of just, definitive factor of why the character is there and why, they're not going to be going anywhere. But regardless of that, we're just going to go over what they do and their ults, all that kind of stuff. So let's start with our boy, Kazuma. So, Kazuma does a whole lot of nothing. He does normal physical damage, he does AoE water damage, and then he has a tier 1 physical attack debuff. His ults, at the time of recording this, we only have the double drain touch, and I mean it heals, and the other one is a gauge, which is cool, but like he's not doing anything fancy or good. Unfortunately, if you use him, I'm gonna laugh at you. That's why we have LOL. All right. Next up is Aqua. Aqua isn't too bad, actually. Unfortunately, Amelia kind of replaced her. But if you don't have Amelia because you didn't play or you didn't grab her or whatever your reason is for not having Amelia, and you really just want a water healer, Aqua isn't too shabby. She also gives a physical tier 2 attack buff, which is pretty solid. Very, very nice. Her ult is the God Blow, so it's slight damage, but then she has a version 2 which gives her a self tier 3 agility buff, so she can get to healing more and get to doing all that good stuff. We're going to put her in B. I don't think she's that bad. Of course, there are way better healers out there, but she gets the job done most of the time. All right, next up is Megumi. I'm just gonna, no surprise here, she is, I'm actually gonna put her in Z, funny enough. I think this Megumi is so great. She has her self tier 2 magic attack buff. There's an AoE which lowers her defensive debuffs for magic, and then she just has her OP explosion. Most people run this Megumi because she's easy to get. She's solid. She buffs herself, debuffs the enemy. A lot of people won't have the ReZero one because it was limited, and while there are other Megumis out there now, like we have the Barista one and we have the one with Yun Yun in her art. I don't know exactly remember what it's called. I believe she's water. I know that one's really good, but people who didn't want to summon on the banner, Megumi is pretty much the widely available one, so she's gonna go to Z because the only one that's a definitive use over her is the ReZero one. I don't really have to go over her ults because it's just, do damage and then take longer, but do more damage. That's pretty much it. All right, so next one, I don't think I need to talk about Darkness at all. There's no saving grace with Darkness. The OG Darkness is god awful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Next one up is Chris. Now, I personally don't have a lot of, I wouldn't say knowledge on Chris, but use with her. I pulled her pretty late, and I don't think I've used her at all. Maybe like once or twice. But other than that, I don't really have much experience myself. But based off of what she does, I hate bind. I don't like the low chance to bind. It's just not a big fan of it. I'd rather just have a buff or debuff. While she does decrease the enemy's physical defense by 2 tiers. Not anything super crazy. And there's another character on this list who is also wind, and since she is not physical, she's magical. Kind of hurts Chris. You don't really use them on the same team because, you know, she's not going to help your wind character. Looking at Chris's ults, the tier 3 agility debuff is nice and all. And then I don't know why you would use the bind version. I don't think it's enough to save her, so we're gonna put her in C. While you can get like some use out of her, she's kind of like fallen off a bit, unfortunately. Next up, kind of biased, is Wiz. I'm actually gonna put her in A. Now, before, you know, she's not too crazy, she doesn't do anything. Hear me out, hear me out. So she heals herself, right? She does her AoE watered magic, right? Boom, icicles, hit him down, easy clap. And then she gives the party a tier 1 magic attack buff. Not anything too crazy. However, this is the one character where I'm going to whip out their weapon. Healing her is just insanely good. Most of the other characters, they just give themselves like an attack buff or whatnot. Wiz, you know, she's cool. She gets the healing one. So I'm going to put her in A. The survivability makes her crazy. Plus, her ult, her version 2 gives everyone a tier 3 magic defense not debuff. It gives the enemy a debuff and then a tier 3 agility debuff as well. Kind of crazy. Makes the enemy slow and weak, and Wiz just stays alive so she can reapply it a bunch. Very nice. So I think she deserves A. Next up is Yun-Yun. Yun-Yun is crazy. I actually don't have this Yun-Yun, unfortunately. But I do use a Yun-Yun, so I know how crazy her version 2 Lighter Saber ult is. The party tier 3 magical attack buff. Now this Yun-Yun specifically is pretty solid. Yeah. So she does a AoE light magic damage. I totally like just spaced out on where I was reading. Sorry. But she does a single target light magic damage and party tier 1 magic attack buff, right? Not anything too crazy, but she has some pretty nice percentages, so she's gonna hit rather hard. Plus the ult, like I said, very, very nice. I really wish I could pull this Union. I just have to make do with the Halloween one, but it's fine because fire teams. Alright, next up is Iris. So, Iris is, you know, just damage and more damage. Her ults aren't anything too crazy. It's literally just damage and then less damage for heal. Don't ever use the heal. I don't know why you do it when you can just have a healer. I feel like it'd be more beneficial then. But, you know, just doing overall solid damage. I think she deserves A. Not anything too crazy damage wise as came out. So I don't think she's really replaced. I know there's Light Mage, and I just talked about Union being crazy and she's physical, but I think she makes do enough with just her damage. So we're just gonna slap her an A. Okay, next up. I like this character. Ironically enough, I do use a 3-star version of her just because I need a fire healer. And I kind of just like throw her up. She heals my Union and then dies. And then, you know, Wiz and Union get to do their thing longer. But other than that, I actually just hate this character. She doesn't really do anything. She has a medium party heal and then a medium chance to inflict bind. Like, what? What? Why? Why? Just, she doesn't hit hard at all. Her ult, if I remember correctly, is... yeah. Tier 3 magic defense debuff and tier 3 physical defense debuff. Alright, so basically, if you just pick one, you're getting a tier 3 defense debuff. And then she has another one with a tier 3 physical attack buff, tier 3 magic attack buff, and a tier 2 agility debuff. That one's not terrible, but she does like 0 damage, and the rest of her kit is not doing anything. So long as she doesn't get her ult, she's not doing anything at all. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna put her in LOL. If my character has the ult to do anything, I'm good. I'm just not using them. Alright, next up is Aru. Aru, right up in there in Z. Aru still hit to this day. Hits hard. She even has a tier 2 magic defense debuff, which is nice. Her ults just do damage, and then her second ult is a tier 3 magic defense debuff and a tier 3 physical defense debuff, which isn't anything crazy. I would just use the first one for more damage. She kind of does the same role as Iris, but you know, as a mage, just hits hard for her element. I'm gonna put her in Z because, you know, mages kind of get to have more fun because the game obviously selects mages for certain elements more than others, and that's that. So next up is Minster Rookie. I don't know why I have dust there. But Minster Rookie, kind of a joke at first. He does lightning AoE, small party heal, and he has a party tier 1 physical defense buff, which is nice, make your characters tankier. But his ult, right, first was a single target elementalist physical damage and party tier 3 physical defense buff, right? Then it turns to one that is less damage, but it does a small party heal and gives you a party tier 3 physical attack buff, which is nice because for the content where you need to be tankier, you just switch to the first one. Where you want to have him buff and heal your team, you do the second one, right? Very nice, you know, makes your units last longer. The healing is nice, and you know, I've seen Minster Rookie put out some pretty nice damage, so I'm gonna put Minster Rookie in A. I think this Minster Rookie is not bad at all. Of course, you know, if you ask me this question in a couple months, I'll probably put it maybe B or C, but as it sits now, I'm gonna put it in A. So now, you know, stole the limelight from him. Dust, I know it is your turn. Fortunately, Dust isn't anything too crazy. He just kind of does damage, but you know, kind of falling off a bit. He has a tier 1 agility debuff and then a tier 2 defense debuff, which, you know, he's already doing more than most of the other characters. He has an AoE elementalist physical damage ult, and then his second one does less damage for tier 3 physical defense debuff and tier 3 magic defense debuff. I mean, those are cool if you have a support character doing that, because then you can kind of stop them on any team. But when your damage dealer is, you know, lowering a defense of a stat that your team isn't using, it's kind of like, why? It's a waste. So I'm gonna put Dust in C. Not doing anything super crazy, unfortunately. You know, sorry, Dust. His art is kind of cool though. It kind of makes him seem like, you know, he's replacing Cosmo, which I thought was funny when I first saw it. The next up, very, very different. We have Wren. So Wren has a tier 1 physical attack debuff, and she has a tier 2 magic defense debuff. Already pretty nice. We're already hitting any of some debuffs, right? Her ult is an AoE wind damage, right? Not anything crazy. And then her second ult, for less damage, she does a self tier 2 agility buff, a party tier 3 magic attack buff, and a party tier 3 physical attack debuff. Oh, it's a buff, sorry. The stat I'm using says debuff, but it means buff, because I was like, wait, can't be right? Looking at the thing, it says also physical attack buff as well. And yeah, okay, so sorry, not debuff, buff. Which, you know, like I just said, for Dust, why would you? But, you know, you're also getting a self tier 2 agility buff, and she's already lowering the attack and defense already. So Wren's pretty good. Obviously, you do on a mage team. Her damage is pretty nice from what I've seen. So I'm gonna put Wren all the way up in I'm gonna put her in Z because I don't use Wren myself personally because I don't really have a win team. Most of the time with Arena, I'm kind of lazy and I'll just like throw whatever team I have at the time. But I know that her buff, I believe, lasts until her ult comes back. I don't remember which one loops, but I know she can do some crazy looping stuff, which is nice compared to other units where their buff will run out and you'll have like a few, you know, seconds of not having a buff. I believe, if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe Wren is one of the units where her ult comes back fast enough or her buffs last long enough. So that is nice. Alright, so next up, we are going to go to Leah. Yikes. She does a party haze clear and a self tier 1 taunt. Her second ult is the crazy good one. The first one is a 15% party ult gauge charge and tier 3 physical defense defense buff and a tier 3 magic defense buff, which makes her tankier. Then her other one is a party tier 2 damage cut buff and a party tier 2 agility buff, which is very, very good. But the character itself isn't doing much, so it's kind of just riding on the ult. So we're gonna put her in B just because the ult's cracked and not the actual unit. So yeah, she's not gonna be staying in B. So I feel like I'm gonna put her in C just because her ult is the only thing. No, I'll put her in B. I'll be nice. Because the taunt, can help you. She'll die and then you have another character come in, I guess. So it's not terrible, but definitely would want it on any other character. Alright, so next up, Leah. She does a medium party heal and haze clear, and then she has a party tier 2 physical defense buff. Very nice. Her ults are a large party heal, tier 3 physical attack buff, and a magic buff. And then her second one, cleanses all status effects. I wouldn't really use that unless it's like some content where you're just getting debuffed and you need someone to cleanse it. I guess that's an option, but normally you just want the attack and magic buffs. So she's not too terrible, not anything too crazy. If you need a good healer, she's obviously better than this excuse, and she's better than Aqua. So I'd put her in A, maybe B, but in front of Aqua. These aren't ordered in any way, by the way, but I'm gonna put her in A just because she is better than Aqua. So I don't really want to put them in the same tier, but she's not too crazy herself. But I'll let her slide into A. Alright, next up is one of my favorite characters, Erica. I actually don't use her nearly enough as I should, considering I preacher in most of my videos. She's a pretty okay fire DPS for her time. She does, funny enough, nothing, just damage, no buffs whatsoever. Her ult does elemental's physical damage and a party tier 3 physical attack buff, and then her second one does more damage and a high chance to haze. That one, I'd rather have the attack buff. She doesn't do anything crazy. She actually, only thing she does is the party tier 3 physical attack buff, and then she just does damage. Which unfortunately might have been great when the game first came out, but now that, she's not hitting as hard as other units, she unfortunately is falling down. I'd put her in C just because if you have any other fire character, you're probably going to be using them over her. Plus, the mages fire are crazy because you have Christmas Wiz and Halloween Yin Yin. They're already synergy going crazy, so you're probably not going to use Erica, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Next up is Melissa. Now, Melissa was crazy good. However, she's kind of fallen off, unfortunately. She does dark physical damage with a low chance to haze. She does self tier 2 agility buff, which is nice. And then, if I remember correctly, her ults aren't great because the second one is a high chance of poison, and the other one is just a tier 3 physical defense debuff to the enemy. So all she really had going for her was, speed, hit hard. And now that she's, fallen off and more characters give speed buffs, she's not that great anymore. I still think she's pretty okay. Definitely does more than Erica and Dust. So I'll put her in B, but her time is coming. Unfortunately. Sorry. Melissa fans are going to have to get another Melissa. So far, we don't have anything too crazy because I think there's only 3 of them on global. So, hold out until the next good one. The next one up is Mia. I've never used a single Mia character, so if I put her in the wrong spot, I'm sorry. It is what it is. I have 0 experience. I don't even think I've actually looked up what she does. Yeah, party tier 2 physical defense buff and a party tier 2 magic defense buff. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Um, oh, that's all she does. That's all she does? Really? Holy crap. Actually, this is my first time actually looking at this character. She sucks. Holy hell. She just says damage, damage, and then that. What are her ults? Physical earth damage and then tier 3 agility buff on the second. Oh my god. Hell no. Don't use this character. What the hell? I'm glad I haven't been. Oh, it's so bad. You're like starting this look good. There's no way. Okay, well, next one. Amy heals and bind cleanse. She does a party tier 2 magic defense buff, earth damage. Nice. I've used it before because I have like nothing for earth. Her ult is a large party heal with a party tier 3 magic attack buff, and then she has another one that clears debuffs, kind of situational, like Celio, I believe that's her name, but still not anything crazy. I think she, she's solid. She's like a worse version of her. Not counting the elements, just like the healing wise stuff. Let me go back up to Leah real quick. A party to defense buff, and then she does she also does defense buff. Really? Same one? Hang on. Haze clear over, what was it, bind cleanse, then the ult heals party to magic attack buff. She did the same thing. There's no way they copy and pasted her. Oh no, yeah, no. So Amy only does a magic attack buff while Celio does both. That's funny. Okay, yeah, it's just no. Amy is going in B. That's funny. I didn't realize how actually similar they were until just now. But yeah, all right. Next one up. Obviously, these are the characters we don't actually have yet. I believe from what I've seen from a Japanese tier list that I've seen, and based off of, what the descriptions for Komeko are, I believe they're good, but the starting one, let me find it real quick. I think I passed it. I actually can't find it. Where the heck is it? All right, just one momento. That loads. All right, well, really quickly. Boom, boom. I know the fact these are crazy good. Veneer, I believe, is the best earth unit when he drops, and I think he still is / in contestant for on JP. And then Maru, I think, is the best lightning over legendary Cosmo, or she's tied with legendary Cosmo as the best lightning physical DPS. I'll have to pull up what they do, but you can take my word for it. From what I've seen, they are pretty good. All right, let me pull up the Komeko. All right, OG. So party tier 2 magic attack buff and a single target fire magic damage. She does more damage, less HP. Pretty solid. That's not too terrible. I believe her ultimates are what hold her back. Let me grab those. I don't have them pulled up, unfortunately, because I was just gonna throw them all at Z, and then I realized Komeko actually isn't Z tier, unfortunately, like the rest of her two friends. Komeko, where is she on the list? And here she is. Okay, her ults are 415 AoE elementalist damage with a 120 charge, and then 120 charge again. She does less damage for tier 3 physical defense debuff and a tier 3 magic defense debuff. Yikes. I'd put her in B personally. That's not that great. I guess I'd argue, yeah, no, I'm putting her in B. Sorry, it is what it is, bro. Now really quickly going over Veneer and Mirror's ult. Veneer does single target earth magic damage 411. All right. And then Veneer does self tier 3 magic attack buff and a tier 3 agility buff. That's pretty nice. I see why Veneer is at Z. Sorry, almost said S. And then Moru does a single target lightning physical damage. And then the other one lets damage for self tier 3 physical attack buff and party tier 2 agility buff. 14 seconds. Damn. That's pretty nice. Alright, so I see why these two are crazy good. You'll have to, you know, there might be YouTube videos on them if you care for that, because obviously I can't showcase them or do anything like that. But this is going to be the tier list. I'm pretty confident in this one. Oh, that's probably been like that the whole time, huh? Like this. All right, my bad. I'm sorry if that annoys people. I think I scrolled down at one point. Hopefully it doesn't bother you guys, but these are the characters. Let me know what you guys think, where you'd rank them. Like I said, apologize. I didn't notice I had stuff open on my monitors. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.